इस विश्लेषण में, we're embarking on something truly wild today. Welcome, everyone. We're exploring a completely mysterious continent, a place literally crushed under up to 5 kilometers of solid ice. It is this massive, frozen enigma, holding secrets that are way, way older than humanity itself. And today, we're gonna unpack exactly what scientists are dragging out of that deep freeze.
Okay, let's dive into this. To even wrap our heads around Antarctica, we have to talk about the sheer, mind-boggling scale of the place. It spans a staggering 1.5 crore, that's 15 million square kilometers. To put that into perspective, you could fit the entire United States inside it and still have room to spare. And the environment? Absolutely brutal. Even in the middle of the summer months, this continent is locked in temperatures ranging from minus 15 degrees Celsius all the way down to a totally bone-chilling minus 90 degrees all year round. It's a place where survival just seems impossible, but as we're about to see, it's hiding some incredible mysteries we're only just now beginning to uncover.
And if you want to understand just how off the grid this place is, get this. 2. Across that entire massive frozen wasteland, there are exactly 2 ATM machines. I mean, think about the extremes here. This is a whole continent that doesn't even have its own time zones. It isn't owned by any single country on Earth. And hidden way down beneath that icy surface, there are over 400 subglacial lakes that are completely sealed off from the rest of the world. Yet, for the handful of brave researchers stationed out there, just 2 ATMs for the whole shebang. It just perfectly sets the stage for a place that completely defies all our normal expectations.
Which brings us right to our first major focus. Theme 1, a thriving prehistoric past.
Because you see, despite the deadly cold, researchers and archaeologists are out there working day and night, braving these unimaginable conditions to uncover some truly shocking secrets buried deep in the ice. And the layers of history they're finding, unbelievable. Let's look at 2009. Researchers made a discovery that literally made their hair stand on end. Deep in the ice, they found a skeleton of a cat. But hold on, it wasn't just your average house cat. Laboratory research proved this was a bizarre, egg-laying cat that was roaming the Earth a staggering 25 million years ago. It is just wild to imagine this strange creature hanging out in a place we only associate with deep freezes.
So what this really shows us is just how drastically this landscape has changed. Jump back to 1986, archaeologists actually unearthed the skeletons of massive mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. We are talking about skeletons stretching 36 feet long. That is roughly the size of a 3-story building. Finding these giant bones proved that 70 million years ago, Antarctica wasn't hiding under 5 kilometers of ice. It actually had a warm, temperate climate. Meaning, this freezing wasteland used to be a thriving ecosystem, absolutely covered in lush green trees and towering mountains.
And that ancient history brilliantly sets up our next incredible find. Unlike a standard human skull, the remains discovered out there in 2014 were deeply unsettling. This was the very first time human remains were found in Antarctica, and their shape was, well, completely unnatural. The heads were distinctly elongated, extended outwards. Now, scientists believe this specific shape was formed by deliberate ancient childhood practices that are actually identical to those used thousands of years ago in ancient Egyptian and Peruvian civilizations. It's a massive connection. It strongly hints that thousands of years ago, humans might have actually lived in Antarctica and maybe even shared some mysterious link with these famous ancient societies. All right, shifting gears a bit, this brings us to theme 2, the Red Mystery.
As fascinating as that ancient human history is, the actual geography itself holds some incredible scientific secrets. For over a century, people totally bought into this terrifying myth that a literal waterfall of blood, or a Kun Kajarna, was flowing right out of the Taylor Glacier. But, as usual, modern science revealed a very different but equally amazing reality. Basically, there's a massive underground water source beneath the glacier. This water is 3 times saltier than the ocean, which is exactly why it never freezes, even in the dead of the Antarctic winter. It's also super rich with iron from the surrounding mountains. So, when this iron-packed water finally pushes out of the glacier and hits the oxygen in the air, boom, a chemical reaction happens. It oxidizes and immediately turns this deep blood-red color.
Now, why this matters isn't really about the spooky color of the water. It's about what is actually living inside it. These tough little organisms known as extremophiles. Underneath that blood-red glacier, in total pitch-black darkness, scientists found 17 different types of bacteria. These organisms are surviving, actually thriving, in a place with absolutely zero sunlight and zero oxygen. This is an absolutely profound detail, right? Because it proves that life can survive the impossible. It completely redefines the boundaries of where life can even exist on our planet.
So let's take that idea and move to theme 3, the extraterrestrial Earth.
And see how this all builds together? From organisms surviving extreme Earth conditions to literal alien connections. Antarctica isn't just a vault of Earth's history. It is essentially a massive catcher's mitt for pieces of other worlds. In just the last 50 years, researchers have found over 10,000 meteorites scattered across the ice. Now sure, some of these are incredibly ancient, like over 700,000 years old, but one specific discovery from 2002 really stands out. It looked like a seemingly small, ordinary rock sitting on the ice, but it wasn't until they finished extensive scientific research in 2015 that they confirmed something mind-blowing. This specific meteorite contained materials perfectly matching the red planet. It had literally broken off from Mars and crash-landed right here in Antarctica.
And speaking of Mars, Antarctica actually hosts a region that mimics the Martian surface perfectly. It's called the Dry Valleys. Now you might think a continent literally made of ice would have plenty of moisture, but no. The Dry Valleys are the absolute driest place on planet Earth. We're talking brutal, violent winds whipping through this valley at speeds of up to 320 kilometers per hour. Because of that sheer force, every single drop of moisture is instantly vaporized. The crazy result? Not a single drop of rain has fallen in this valley for 2 million years.
Because this environment is so incredibly dry, barren, and extreme, scientists actually state that the atmosphere of this dry valley closely resembles the surface of Mars. In fact, NASA literally brought their Viking robot to this specific, desolate valley to test it thoroughly before they ever launched it into space. It is, without a doubt, the closest thing to an alien planet we have right here on Earth. Which finally brings us to the climax of our analysis, the unknown.
We've seen giant dinosaurs, blood-red waterfalls, and literal pieces of Mars. But deep, deep beneath the ice, an archaeological team uncovered what has to be the single most shocking and unexplainable discovery ever found on the continent. I really want you to let this sink in. 1,100 feet down, totally encased inside crushing ancient ice, researchers discovered a horrifying skeleton. It was massive. We're talking a towering 8 feet tall, and its structure was completely bizarre, with bones protruding in totally unnatural ways from the main body. Despite massive scientific effort, running numerous experiments, and years of intense study, its bone structure matches absolutely no known animal on Earth. It is a complete and total biological mystery.
Which leaves us staring at one massive, unavoidable question. What exactly was this 8-foot creature? Was it some forgotten prehistoric beast? An evolutionary anomaly? Or something else entirely? And how in the world did it end up buried beneath 1,100 feet of the deepest ice on our planet? I really want you to think about that. Where do you think this creature came from? Is there a whole different world hiding beneath that ice that we are completely unaware of? Mujhe aasha hai aapko ye vishleshan pasand aaya hoga. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible deep dive into the unknown. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Alvida.